Good day, good people. My name is Kabasekwele and I'm an online math tutor here to help young children turn their struggles into their successes. Today, I'm going to be exposing my past self. We will be talking about the mistakes that I made in math that resulted in me getting very bad grades back in primary school, and I will also share what your child needs to do to avoid the mistakes that I made. These 5 mistakes are probably the most common mistakes that young kids make in math and some of the most dangerous mistakes that they can make in math. So let's get into it. The first mistake that I made was that I was studying math incorrectly. I didn't know how to study math, and I was studying it the same way that I was studying my other subjects such as history, natural sciences, and so forth. What I would do is I would read what was in the textbook, and then I would memorize the content, or I would memorize the techniques that are in the textbook. Then I would practice these techniques with a couple of practice questions, and then I would move on to the next chapter. On and on and on, that was my process. So to put it simply, I just did a lot of reading mathematics. Come time to write the test, that technique prepared me for absolutely nothing. So to help your child avoid this mistake, they need to know how to study math the right way. Now I have a whole video that shares what it actually means to study math the right way and how your child can improve their study skills. You can watch the video somewhere up here, or you can go down to the description and find the link there. So yes, that's the first mistake that I made. I did not study math well. The second mistake that I was making was that I was studying techniques. Now this kind of latches onto the first mistake, but I'm going to go more in depth into this one because it prevents a whole host of challenges than what the first mistake does. So what I mean is that I would read what is in the textbook, and normally the textbook gives you a specific method that you can follow in order to solve a problem. So what I would do is I would memorize that technique or that method and use that method all the time when trying to solve that type of problem. I didn't really try and understand the reasons behind the techniques and the methods. So I was doing what I was doing without knowing why, because I was more focused on learning methods and techniques. That's as good of an idea as trying to build a house with no foundation. So to avoid this, your child needs to move from trying to learn math methods to math principles and math concepts. Principles help you to know why you're doing something. They give you the reasons behind the method, and that is the foundation that they need in order to do well. I eventually started developing my own techniques of solving problems instead of latching on to the ones that I learned in class or in the textbooks. And I began experimenting and understanding what works and why it works. They themselves can develop multiple ways of solving one problem because they understand. They have the principles, which is what a child needs in order to succeed in math. So that's mistake number 2, studying techniques and not principles. The third mistake that I was making was that I was not practicing math enough. I would get homework from my teachers, and I remember literally just doing that, nothing more. I didn't go out and search for additional practice papers that I could practice from. I just literally did what was given to me in class. The truth is though that that is not enough. In lower middle school, more especially, your child needs to use their time wisely. They need to use more of their free time practicing math, because in high school, they're not going to have much free time. So the best thing to do would be for your child to find a good math resource that has a ton of practice papers that your child can spend at least 30 minutes to an hour each day practicing. This is of course after they've done all their homework and everything else is done. Also, another thing that they can do is practice what they did in class that day. That reinforces what they've learned and improves their skill in what they are currently learning. One last tip when it comes to practicing, they need to try and practice various types of questions. Let's say, for example, they are dealing with fractions. They need to practice how to calculate fractions. However, they also need to practice fractions in word problems, because the focus should not be on just practicing how to calculate. The focus should also be on improving their understanding of math. And word problems is very good when it comes to that. It helps young kids test their understanding and it helps them to improve their understanding of a particular concept. Now, the fourth mistake that I was making was that I was way too dependent on my math teachers. When a new concept was introduced to me by my math teacher, whatever he or she said was law. I thought that my teacher covered everything that needed to be covered about that concept. If ever I didn't understand this concept, I would go back to the same math teacher and ask for an explanation. Whatever techniques they taught, I stuck to them. I stuck to it whether I understood it or not. The unfortunate thing about this is that my teacher was not allowed to help me during an exam or a test. They could not help me as much as they did outside the test or exam. So to avoid being too dependent, your child needs to view their teacher as nothing more than a guide. They should not believe that their teacher is the one with all the answers. They should not think, okay, whenever I have a problem, I'll just ask her. No. The person that has to do most of the thinking is your child, not the teacher. The teacher's already done the thinking for themselves. They've already passed elementary school and middle school and high school. Your child now needs to start thinking for themselves, doing research for themselves. Now, it's true your child does need assistance. They do need a guide, but in order to fully comprehend math, they need to think for themselves. That's the only way they can do well. And that's what helped me to improve my grades. Okay, so the fifth and final mistake that we will be discussing in this video was that I developed a very fixed mindset toward math. People who have a fixed mindset do not believe it is possible to improve their skills over time. I didn't believe it was possible for me to improve my understanding of math. I just thought math was a bore and frustrating, and it was just a chore that I had to do. I really didn't want to do math because I didn't see light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see that this can actually be something that I enjoy doing. Now, because of this mindset, I did not try and put effort into improving my grades. Then one day I was introduced to a teacher who showed me, along with my other classmates, that it is possible to develop your understanding in mathematics. And what's more, he actually showed me and my classmates how to do it, how to improve our understanding in math. When I applied what I learned from him, my understanding of math improved dramatically. And obviously so did my grades. Now, because of the results that I was getting, my mindset shifted. I realized that if I worked hard in the right way, I can shift the needle even further than what I had already done. And that mindset shift is what motivated me to work even harder. So, your child needs to avoid having a fixed mindset toward math, because it may just be that fixed mindset that is blocking them from improving. You can help them by constantly reassuring them and constantly reminding them that no matter how hard math is, they can succeed at it and they can improve their grades. He or she just needs to figure out how to do so. It's like if you're trying to drive from here to a nearby mall. You would never conclude that it is impossible to get to the mall because you don't know the way there. Just because you don't know how to get there at that point in time does not mean it's not possible to get there. There are many different routes that you can take in order to get to your final destination. But the point is, you can get to the destination. And knowing that is what's going to motivate you to find a way to get there. So having that mindset shift is what's going to motivate your child to put in the effort into improving. Parents, thank you so much for watching this video right through to the end. If you are a parent in search of an online math tutor for your child, please feel free to contact me. You can go down to my website and schedule a free consultation with me, and I will see you there. Thanks once again, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.